Hey, this is Tuan Aditya from Lighthaven. Today we are going to be talking about different ways of gripping the knife. Now, before we begin, I must state that these are my opinions based on the testing and the training that I have done. Um, and if you disagree, please, or if you have anything to add to the discussion, please do leave that in the comments down below. We're going to be looking at the two major knife grips, in my opinion, which are your Saksa or your hammer grip and your Pakal or your ice pick grip. In my opinion, all other knife grips sort of are derivatives of these two knife grips. Before we begin though, it would mean a lot if you subscribe to the channel. At the end of the video, if you liked what you saw, if you learned from what you saw, please do like and share this video. If you have anything to add to the discussion, please leave it in the comments down below. If you have any requests for future videos, please also leave that down in the comments below. All these things really do help out the school and the channel a lot. When we're talking about grip, I think there's two major factors that we need to consider. Number one is the design of the knife. Sometimes a knife maker will put in certain features into the knife which will make it easier for you to grip it or more effective for you to grip it in one way than the other way. Doesn't mean you can't grip it in the other way, it's just not going to be as comfortable. Also, sometimes there are certain other features which may again lend itself to one grip over the other grip. So it could be a heavier blade, a longer blade, a curved blade. So some grips are going to be more effective using these features, some grips are going to be less effective using these features. The next factor to consider is comfort. By comfort, I mean how much time have you spent training that grip, how much time have you spent with that particular knife, how much time have you spent practicing how to draw your knife from the various places that you may carry it. We're going to be focusing on the comfort and the training aspect of this video. Specifically trying to focus on what works better in this grip, what works better in this grip, and the slight, small, subtle, most common variation that you find in both grips and why they are there. Let's start with your Saksa or your hammer grip. Now, oftentimes I see it being held like this, literally like a fist. I'm not the biggest fan of that grip simply because it limits my wrist mobility a little bit. If possible, I like to have my thumb up there, and if possible, I like to have my finger, my first finger up there as well. This gives my wrist a lot more articulation. I can do a lot more things with this. Now, later on, there are benefits. Maybe at some point of time, I may need to grip someone's hand using my thumb in this way. However, I don't necessarily think that that's going to be a very common occurrence. That's why oftentimes you'll see people gripping the knife like this the whole time, in case they get some sort of grip. But it's such a small likelihood of that happening that I don't want to preempt it and weaken my grip on the rest of the knife. I would rather have a nice firm grip. If possible, I would like my thumb involved and my first finger involved. But again, if the knife doesn't lend itself to be held that way, then this is fine. Your Saksa grip is, honestly, it's my preferred grip because it's a more versatile grip. I can slash with it, I can thrust with it, I can parry, I can do the small sort of minute fine movements with it, but I can also do the big chopping, big heavy penetrating thrusts with it. It's a pretty good all-rounder grip. In my Saksa grip, I can even knife jab, I have my slashes, I have my thrusts, I can parry, and if I need to, yes, I can get those fingers into play and grip and manipulate the hand in that way, especially if I am using double knife and I'm diverting a thrust and I'm pinning that, and literally his elbow is now within this grip, and now I'm using that to control where the other hand and the other knife strikes. It's also a grip that comes to most of us much more naturally. Whether we're cutting vegetables or whatever you normally do with the knife, this is generally a more natural, it's an easier grip to adapt to. Moving on to Pakal or your ice pick grip. Now, my preferred way of holding this is with the edge out and my thumb on top. I like this because this gives me the option of using the hook to be able to scoop or to parry, and as I come out of that parry, it gives me the option of cutting. So similar to if I'm empty hands and there's a punch coming towards me and I'm parrying and scooping and I'm coming back with a hook or an elbow, it's the same concept where I'm parrying and scooping and I'm coming back with that cut, and then I come back with a thrust. Pakal is a little bit more of a specialized grip than Saksa. With Saksa you can do basically almost everything pretty well. In Pakal, the thrusting aspects of Pakal are stronger in my opinion than the slashing aspects of Pakal. However, there is something that has to be noted. I am not looking to cut off someone's arm. This is not a machete, it's a knife, which means I'm looking to cut, not hack things off. I don't necessarily need to worry about power in that respect because I'm not looking to hack someone's arm off. I'm looking to cut, and I'm also looking to cut especially fleshy areas of the body. Which is why in Pakal oftentimes you'll have a lot of like passing cuts. So imagine angle 1 is coming, I'm parrying and I'm cutting the fleshy part of the arm as the arm passes, or as the punch is coming, I'm parrying and I'm cutting that neck or that face. As the knife passes, it's cutting that neck or that face. I'm not looking for power behind my cuts necessarily, I'm just looking for contact at the right spots. The strength of Pakal in my opinion is in its thrust, which is why your knife jabbing is also particularly effective from Pakal. My angle 1, angle 2 thrusts are more effective from Pakal as thrusts than slashes. The confusion that I often see when it comes to Pakal is whether to have that edge out or that edge in. Now let's just talk about why you would have that edge in. One of the strengths of Pakal is this sort of hook motion, almost like a mantis. This hooking ability. When a punch comes or when a hand comes or when a knife comes, I'm looking to hook. Now the logic is that as I'm hooking that arm, I'm also going to be cutting it as I'm controlling it. However, what you sacrifice in return for that hook is that ability to slash out. Now you're mostly depending on this grip as a thrusting grip. And yes, they can say that as I'm thrusting, as I'm pulling the knife out, I'm going to be doing a lot more damage because the edge is facing down. However, again, I really prefer the edge out because it gives me a lot more versatility, it gives me a lot more options. I still have that hook. I'm just not going to be doing damage in that hook, but I would argue that that damage is possibly quite low. And in exchange for that damage, I'm able to hit more vital targets, more vital areas with greater efficiency and effectiveness. Because it's not that I cannot slash from Pakal. I can still slash from Pakal, coming from here, coming this way. I can even, for whatever reason, maybe I'm not sure, depending on the context, come down with a slash. Having my edge out gives me a lot more versatility, gives me a lot more options than having my edge facing inside. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked what you saw, if you learned from what you saw, please do like and share this video. If you have anything to add to the discussion, if you agreed or disagreed with something, please leave that in the comments. If you have any requests for future videos, please also leave that in the comments down below. Please do subscribe to the channel. These things help us out a lot. We've also just restarted our residential program, so if you'd like to come and train with us in person, please check the link out that I'm going to leave down below. Thank you and see you in the next video.